What's up, Recovered on Purpose family? I am so glad that you are here for the weekend recap of the week. And today we're going to be talking about addiction myths versus facts. And we're going to be backing this up with each other's experiences and make sure that you are celebrating your clean and recovery time with us in the comments. And guys, the Recovered on Purpose show is sponsored by all the students who have said yes to adding purpose, mission, and passion to their lives in recovery by going through my course and coaching program, Recovery Speaker, Share Your Story Powerfully. Today's student shout out goes to Kimberly Clark. Kimberly joined the program just over a week ago and has actively gone through the course, done coaching calls with me, and has already done a podcast and has a speaking engagement booked in 4 weeks. Super proud of you, Kimberly, and excited to be on this journey with you. If you have a story of addiction and recovery you want to share with the world powerfully on platforms like this one, follow the link in the pinned comments to book your one-time 100% free call with me to strategize how you can add impact and income to your life through sharing your recovery story. Love you guys and enjoy the show.
The black represents the darkness from which we came. The white represents the light in which we now live. And the red represents the passion it takes to live recovered on purpose.
What is up, family? I'm so glad that you are here. It's good to see you all. Let me know in the comments some clean and sober dates where you're coming in from. On the show for Weekend Recap, we're always going to be celebrating clean time because we are hitting milestones in our recovery. We have so many things going on. And guys, we want to celebrate with you here at Recovered on Purpose. And today, like I said before, we are going to be talking about addiction myths versus facts. And while we're going through this, we're going to a lot of these things are controversial, but not for us. Us that have actually experienced these things, experienced this life of addiction, these myths sometimes can actually upset us when people say them. So we're going to be talking about these. And if you have experiences with them, if you have, that knowledge of this myth not being true, make sure that you're telling me in the comments what you think about it so I can pull it up and we can talk about that. So first myth that we are going to be jumping into: using drugs and alcohol is a choice. So if someone gets addicted, it's their fault. Now, the truth of this is nobody would choose to be an addict. And the vast majority of American teenagers actually say, and they admit to experimenting with alcohol and other drugs. And if that's the case, if a vast majority of teenagers are experimenting, why is it that some of us have this thing that happens with us where we have to use more? What is it about us that makes us, continually search for that next high? And I can tell you, my first use, I was like 12 years old. And at the time when I was growing up, I was state champion in wrestling in Little League. My Little League football team won state every single year. We went to nationals one year and won nationals. And my baseball team, I ended up getting a triple play to win the state championship in 8th grade. And that year we went to the World Series, and I was the home run derby hitter of the World Series. But that same year, I was introduced to cocaine at a very early age, obviously 12, 13 years old. And when I first did it, I had to have more. I don't know what it was about drugs, about this thing that happened to me when I started feeling a different way inside of my own body. But something happened where that became my life. Even though I was able to continue with my sports career, I went to Columbine High School and continued with wrestling, football, baseball. But in that time, I prioritized drugs and alcohol. Not because it was a choice, because we're too young to make choices at that age. And then when a dramatic event happened, when a traumatic event happened, drugs and alcohol were no longer a way for me to party, for me to have fun. They were no longer a way for me to, just have those good feelings, but they became my only solution to life. And this wasn't a choice. This wasn't something that, I made the choice to start using drugs and take myself to being homeless and kicked out of the homeless shelter and addicted to IV drugs. There was something different about me. And I don't know if there's like a chicken and an egg, a debate of what comes first, whether it's the person was born with addiction or if there was environment or whatever. But I didn't really go through those childhood traumas that 67% of our community goes through. And environment and being introduced to drugs is always a catalyst. We'll always start it. But there's something different in us that causes us to continually go down that road. And if you have been addicted, you are the only type of person that understands what that's like. And this myth right here that is still getting passed around, even though it has been proven time and time again by scientists, by doctors, by all these people, that addiction is a disease. This is something that we suffer from, and it manifests in a different way than any other disease. So here we are, addicted to drugs, addicted to alcohol. We can't stop. Everybody thinks that, oh, well, you should be able to stop. You're making that choice. You should be able to just say no. And that whole Nancy Reagan campaign of just say no, it doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for us. Robert, good to see you, brother. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Where are you coming in from, Robert? Because it is, I guess it could still be late afternoon here. I'm coming in from Medellin, Colombia. Medellin, Colombia. So we're going to move on to a different myth, because I'm sure that all of us that are in addiction know this one. Using drugs and alcohol is a choice. So if someone gets addicted, it's their fault. And again, I'm going to reiterate that a vast majority of American teenagers admit to experimenting with alcohol and other drugs. There's something that happens with us addicts, with us real alcoholics and addicts, that we then get triggered into a phenomenon of craving where we can't stop. We can't stop. So here's another one. Prescription drugs are not cause for addiction because they come from a doctor. Now, when I was 19, I had a traumatic event happen. My best friend, I was out partying and drinking all night my freshman year of college, and I woke up at 4:47 a.m. and my best friend Chucker was calling me. And I remember having the conscious choice that I could either answer the phone like I always do with, "Hey, what's up, Chuck?" Or I could answer the way I was feeling with, "Hello." And in my still drunken state, I chose the latter, to which a soft voice replied, "Hey, what's up? Why are you calling me this late?" "I was just calling to say hi." "Don't call me this late again." And I hung up on him. And he shot himself. And that story, that was the beginning of my real addiction. The time where it switched from having fun, partying, drinking, using cocaine, using ecstasy and things like that on the weekends and, partying and stuff. And it switched over here to where I was now seeking and using drugs as a solution to the way that I felt, the way that I thought, and masking who I was to be able to make this persona to the world, right? And within a week of that happening, I was introduced to Oxycontin for the first time. And I remember when I tried Oxycontin, it was as if everything in my life, all the worries, all the negative stuff completely flowed away from me. I didn't have anything to worry about when I had that Oxycontin. And within a few months of being introduced to it, I was able to find a doctor who prescribed me at 19, 20 years old, 250 milligrams a day of Oxycontin. Now, I had, the back pain, I had the MRIs and stuff because of my sports career. And so I had a legitimate reason, I guess, for the doctor to prescribe me Oxycontin. However, I became so incredibly addicted to that drug that it changed my life forever. That drug took me from a place of partying, having fun, and doing that on the weekends or at night. I was partying a lot, to waking up and having to have a fix, having to have it. And this was a substance, this was a drug that was prescribed to me by a doctor. And there's a whole mess of different things that are prescribed by doctors that are extremely addictive. And I'm someone who I believe in the medical system. I believe that there are doctors out there with amazing hearts that are there to serve and treat for things like mental illness, for things like, chronic pain for the right people. There are drugs that help people with those issues. And I'm all for people needing their prescriptions. But only us know, only you and only I know what we're taking that prescription for. And just because we're able to talk somebody into writing us the prescription doesn't mean that we are not continuing our addiction with a sign off by somebody else, because we've been doing that our whole lives. We've been getting people to sign off on our BS our whole lives in order to continue moving with our addiction, in order to continue, being able to put off this persona to the world. Like, I'm not sick. There's nothing wrong with me here. I'm a functioning addict. I have a prescription from a doctor. When in reality, all of a sudden, this is getting raised up and up and up. And then at one point, I think I was 21 at the time, I ended up eating my entire bottle of Oxycontin, my entire bottle of Xanax. And I told my family I was killing myself. And I drank a fifth of whiskey. And the next thing I know, I'm waking up in a hospital. And then I was put on a 3-day hold. That was prescription drugs that I was prescribed. So we got to be careful. What's up, Tisa? That's not true. Others get it, but don't know how to say without it being an excuse. It's BS. Yeah. Coming in from Arizona on Pacific time. So you're like 4:11 there. Let's go. Afternoon from Chicago. What's up, Christy? Good to see you. Chi-Town. The moment you realized I'm not having fun, I just want to feel normal. That's a hard turn. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't remember the specific time when I just wanted to feel normal, but it definitely happened within my Oxycontin addiction. There was a different epiphany from when Chuck committed suicide, when Chuck killed himself. I actually remember having the thought and having the newfound seeking of drugs to mask the way that I felt and to feel better. And that was my solution. But sometime during my addiction, when I got addicted to the Oxycontin, I had to have them in order to feel normal. I don't remember if there was like a specific time when I realized it or if it was gradual, but because I had the prescription, I always had it. I didn't have to worry about, when I didn't have it, because I always felt normal. I always took it. And I was abusing them. I got to a point where I was taking other people's prescriptions. I was buying their prescriptions. And yeah, I was selling prescriptions also. That's the world that it takes us in. When we're that addicted to something, we have to get into that world. And I've never shared this on air, but I got really lucky when I was like 21 years old with that prescription, because I was living in this really nice house. I had some roommates and stuff, but I was selling Oxycontin, and, not super proud of it, but it was happening. And one day my friend, who also had a prescription, who I bought his whole prescription from him, he came over, he sold me his prescription. I had the bottles in my pockets. I was in the backseat of the car. We drive away, and half a mile down the road, right outside of AMC Cinemas in Littleton, we got pulled over by a bunch of unmarked cars. And immediately I take everything out of my pockets and I shove it in the seat ahead of me, because we know how to do it. But I do that, and the cop comes to my window, knocks on the window. I roll down the window. He's like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Adam." He's like, "Adam what? Adam Gunton?" "Oh, where have I heard that name before?" And he tells me to leave. So I leave, and then they search the car. They find the prescription bottles and everything, and I had already ripped the names off of them and everything. And they started interrogating my friend. And they were like investigating me because somebody had said something. And he calls me from jail, and he tells me, they screwed up their investigation. And I told him, because those pills were mine. They are investigating you. Come pick me up. Come bail me out. Bailed him out. Haven't sold a drug since. And I never committed crimes. to support my habit. I never had to go out and steal and do anything like that. I don't judge anybody that did, because I know how hard drug addiction is. I did steal from my dad once, and I stole from my best friend once. Both times I came to them the next day or the day after crying, because I was so embarrassed that these drugs that I was so addicted to were causing me to become somebody that I wasn't. I'm not somebody that takes from the people that love me the most and that I love the most. I'm not that person. But these drugs were so powerful. The addiction was so powerful that it was like I didn't even have a choice. I remember my friend was sleeping, and I crawled into his room while he was sleeping, crying while I was crawling in there, to find his pants that had his wallet in it. And I took $100 bill. And that moment, it just destroyed me. It killed me. And there was just a lot that happened with that. I ended up not being able to be friends with my whole friend group after that. And I came to him and I told him. He would have never known. There were a bunch of $100 bills in there. I took one, and the next day I came to him crying, saying that I did it. No two ways about it. Amen. Same. That's the point. You can't do that if you're in recovery. Being honest is key. Amen. 100%. 100%. And I think that in recovery, we learn this discernment also. This discernment of being honest and talking too much. Because I had this experience in a fellowship at one point when it was in early recovery, first 30 days. And I'm sitting in there, and like, this is the longest I've been in recovery for a long time. It was before I had 30 days. But I was sitting there, and like, we were talking about some kind of topic about our past and things like that. And this memory came up. This sexual trauma from when I was a kid came up. And in the meeting, I made the decision to share that just came up and share the instance. I shared the memory, and someone in the meeting laughed. Someone in the meeting laughed at me. And now what I am very, very clear with people in recovery is anything that comes up with you, any kind of trauma, any kind of fourth step work that needs to come out, make sure you're talking about it with your sponsor or with a mentor or a spiritual advisor or a therapist or counselor to process that before we bring it to other people. Because that story is important for us to tell, but we have to know the timing and the circumstance that we are to tell it, right? Guys, let me know your clean and sober dates. I want to celebrate with some of you. Coming in South Jersey strong. I'm just wired completely different. Love this family. Big love. Love you too, Jeremy. Good to see you. Melinda coming in. I changed my clean date because even though I was taking my Norcos as prescribed, I was numb for the first 2 months on my recovery. So I changed it for my morals. Amen, Melinda. That's amazing. And my belief, my personal belief, is that medically assisted treatment is recovery. That's my belief. I personally didn't use it. I didn't use Suboxone. However, my best friend who I met in his first week of recovery, he did MAT. He was homeless, heroin addict, went to the hospital 13 times in his addiction from overdose. He used the MAT for his first 3 years of recovery. In that time, he built up a business. He now does digital marketing. He actually built the Recovered on Purpose website. He got married. He just had his baby 3 days ago. Shout out, Gabriel. Already love you. Haven't met you yet, but I love you. And he quit the Suboxone treatment on his own. He tapered off on his own and stopped at 3 years. Now, do I think that he doesn't deserve those 3 years? No. Personally, no. And I don't think that it is, even if I did think so, even if I thought that that MAT isn't recovery, it is not my place. Not only is it not my place, but it is dangerous and poisonous for us to have those opinions on other people. Because he's my best friend now. I was his best man at his wedding. Come on. If it weren't for the MAT recovery route that he went through, I wouldn't have been able to have that with him. And And I also, like I was saying, this is amazing. That is your path of recovery, your choice, and I am 100% for it. And I'm proud of you for making that choice. Jeremy got 6 months and 3 weeks clean. Let's go. Let's go. We got the celebration lights on for Jeremy with 6 months and 3 weeks clean. Brother, you are constantly in here. You're constantly on post. You're constantly telling people that you love them. You are working a great program, and I'm super proud of you and glad that you're in this community, brother. I love seeing you on here. I love seeing the way that you interact with everybody, and you just like, you get support by how much you support people. And I just think that is beautiful, brother. I think that is beautiful. And I ordered new lights because I've been using these lights so much that they're dying a little bit, but they'll be here soon. Jeremy, hello, brother. Hello. No judgment. I did things I would never do if I was sober. Amen. We have all done things in our addiction. And also, that's another thing. Things that we did in our addiction, we don't want to glorify them in our recovery. And by glorifying them, I mean, if it's not the right time and place, we don't have to make ourselves a bad person for what we did by sharing, I did this and I did this and I did this. Sometimes it helps when we share that with a certain community, with a certain audience, what we did, because that's what we were like. But the point is not to make us look bad. It's to make the addiction look bad. And there's some things that I haven't shared publicly that I have done in my addiction, but I'm not ashamed of them. I'm not afraid to share them. I just haven't found the right time and opportunity that it would mean anything for me to share. I just shared at the beginning of this live, I just shared something that I have never shared publicly. I shared a story about 5-10 minutes ago about why I stopped completely with selling drugs. I was this close to a lot of time, and I'm super lucky, super lucky. I was addicted to oxys for 5 years. Yeah, man, they're hard. You're awesome, brother. Love you, man. Love you, love you, love you. What's up, Patrice? Good to see you. Patrice is an OG ROP. Good to see you. Good to see you. Patrice, what's your clean and sober date? Oh, there you are. There you go. February 28th, 20. Let's go. Let's go. We're sitting on what? That's like, you just got 2.5 years? 2.5 years coming up? Let's go. I'm proud of you, Patrice. You came in like right at the beginning of your recovery. You found Recovered on Purpose like right at the beginning of your recovery. That's amazing. It's amazing. Love seeing you. Always love seeing you. Trying to get off them, not so easy. I know, brother. I know, Jeremy. And if you want, send a message to my page, and I would happily do a call with you and talk about where you're at, talk about, different methods that you've tried to stop. And, we can talk about a certain plan and see if there's something I can help you with, different resources, different people to get connected to. I know how hard it is, bro. Just so that everybody knows where I come from a little bit, I'm going to play you a quick clip, a really quick clip, just to show I know what addiction is like and being completely stuck. This is body cam footage. This is when the police in Laurel, Montana found me behind the wheel of a car with no breath, no pulse. Car was locked. They had to break into the car and pull me out. And the reason why I'm sharing this, the reason why I just shared that video, is because we get it. If you're out there and you're struggling, you are not alone. You are not the only person that has ever felt this way. You're not the only person that's feeling it right now. And the people that are on this live that are throwing in the 6 months and 3 weeks clean, that just said he was addicted to oxys for 5 years, Patrice that's got 2.5 years, we get that feeling of it not being easy. But the thing is that it's possible. It's possible. Throw down in the comments, it's possible, if you think recovery is possible. Throw it down there. Yes. Good work. Good work. Good work. Yes. Robert, we're going to be celebrating. We got 11 days for a year. And guys, did you know that, and here's the thing that I learned about this statistic also. 85% of people who go to long-term treatment relapse within the first year. The first year, 15% make it there if they go to long-term treatment. And what I recently learned about that statistic is that that is including bulimia. It's including anorexia. It's including self-harm. It's including long-term treatment for some kind of addiction disorder. And self-harm is addictive, bulimia is addictive, anorexia is addictive, sex addiction, all of that is included in that. And, you know, someone called me out on that. And that's something that I'm always open to. If I am sharing a statistic or something and you know something about it, I want to hear. If I am sharing it incorrectly or I'm saying something about it, you know, I don't think that they even keep track of the real statistics of how many people get 1 year that were addicted to heroin, meth, crack, cocaine, alcohol. So Robert, we are super, super proud of you. We love you. And there's someone in here right now that says it's hard to get off, and you're showing him that it is possible, brother. Keep it up. Yes, yes, yes. Congrats on 6 months. Love you guys. We're going to hop into, yes, reach out if you're struggling. Yes. It's possible. It's possible. We got a bunch of people coming in here telling you it's possible. It is possible. Yes. 40-year heroin addict, gratefully blessed to have celebrated 9 years. 9 years. Let's go. We got 9 years in the house and 9 years. Thank you for paving the way, Pam. Thank you for being involved in the community. Thank you for continuing to help others that are struggling where you once were. 9 years, a lot of people could say, well, basically, good now. I'm going to go live my life over here. You know, I've recovered from drugs and alcohol. I'm going to go over here. But Pam, you are in here every day. You are hopping into live videos. You're hopping into posts. And I know that you're in other groups and everything. And you have 9 years. That goes to show that not only is recovery is possible, but there is a community that is built around recovery. And we are all able to do this together. We weren't able to get addicted alone. Someone had to give us our first drug. We weren't able to recover alone. And we're not going to be able to end this thing alone. And we're not able to help everyone alone. So we are all together. 2.5 years clean. Let's go. Let's go. 2.5 years. We got a lot of time here, guys. We got people coming in that are coming in powerfully. People are killing it in the recovery game. You rock, Pam. Yes, 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 yes. I don't even know how long I've been clean. I don't keep track anymore because if I lapse, I'm not so hard on myself. I just pick myself back up and move on. It's just my way of coping. James, love you, brother. Love you. And there is something powerful. There is something powerful about a recovery date. The reason why I say this, and I'm just going to say it. I'm not even going to say it's my opinion. There is a reason why a sobriety date and a clean date is so powerful, because that was the day we decided to never lapse again. If you want to talk about this, if you need help with making that decision and finding out how to do that, recover once and for all, hit me up, message the page. I was going on 13 years clean when I relapsed. Whew. Whew. I got somebody in the course right now that same thing, about 10 years, relapsed. And guys, if you're out there and you're in long-term recovery and you have those kinds of thoughts, make sure you are reaching out to me. I get it. I get it that long-term recovery is just as hard. Life is hard for us. People, life is hard for people. And if we're in a state where we are thinking about going back, we got to be reaching out to each other. We got to be reaching out and supporting each other. Hit those lights. Let's go. Let's go. All right. My boyfriend of 18 years, sunset was my sunrise. Amen. Beautiful, amazing energy from this family. Every one of you are doing awesome. I'm happy to hear all this great sharing. Love you, brother. We're going to hop into another myth. If someone has a good job and a good family life, they can't be suffering from addiction. Has anybody else met someone or possibly been the person that was able to hold down the fort? in their addiction, at least for a certain period of time. I know that I was a functioning addict for a certain amount of time. I was able to build a pest control business from the ground up with one partner. We started it out of his apartment. We had a truck, pesticides, and him doing the services, me going door to door and selling it. I had a needle in my arm the entire time and built that business, sold 967 accounts the first year. And we had like 3 employees and a 2-story building and 6 trucks by the second year. And that whole time, I was banging heroin. So it is not true. Addiction affects everyone. And guys, we're going to take a quick 30-second break and be right back to go into another myth that we can all fight about. We can all fight people about these myths. What's up, family? I hope you're enjoying this episode as much as I do when I'm making them. And guys, if you are getting value from this, if you've heard any golden nuggets that you think other people should hear, make sure that you're sharing it with your groups or your pages so other people that are looking for a message of hope are able to find it. Also, in case you weren't here for the beginning of the show, if you have a recovery story and you want to learn how to add impact and income through sharing it, follow the link in the pinned comment to book your one-time, 100% free call with me, where we're going to strategize exactly how you can share your story and do just that. Enjoy the rest of the show. Keep living Recovered on Purpose. All right. And if you weren't here for the beginning of the show, we did do a student shout out, and I'm going to read that again for you. So today's student shout out goes to Kimberly Clark. Kimberly joined the program just over a week ago and has actively gone through the course, done coaching calls with me, and has already done a podcast. She did a podcast 2 days ago and has a speaking engagement booked in 4 weeks. Super proud of you, Kimberly, and excited to be on this journey with you. Guys, if you want, I have 3 spots left. We have our first group coaching call tonight. If you are looking for a way to add purpose, mission, passion to your recovery life, I'm here for you. It's what I do. So let's go into another myth. We are going to say addiction only affects certain types of people. There's only a certain type of people that addiction affects. And I know that we are normally, us that get in recovery and us that start a community and us that are in fellowships and are doing these kinds of things, we all kind of like don't really mix all the time, right? Some of us might like mountain climbing. Some of us might like knitting, right? And some of us, I don't know if you guys have met the people that are like, lawyers or senators or people that are in the fellowships that are doing really big things. And then there's us. There's me. I was homeless. I was a drug addict. I was sticking a needle in my arm. I'm a felon. There are so many different people that addiction affects. There is no certain type of people. It doesn't matter. It doesn't discriminate against your ethnic background, your social class, your economic status in the moment, your family status. I have met people who have had serious childhood trauma. Some really bad trauma as a child. They didn't become addicted. They did not become addicted to drugs. Then I've also met people in recovery who had serious childhood trauma and they became addicted. There's different types of people in every sect with us. It doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter what you've dealt with. This disease is something that affects all people that have it. It doesn't matter if you were born into, what is it? Joe Biden's son. He could not come from a better place to be born, I guess, in society's eyes. Being born to a senator and, ends up being vice president, president, all the opportunity you could possibly think of. He has a bunch of pictures smoking a crack pipe or a meth pipe. Now, it affects everyone. And this is not a political thing. I'm saying that we love him. We love Hunter. We're here for him. We are here for him. And we would support him any way that we could. Every single person that is on this live right now would be willing to help any person out there suffering with this disease. And I know that about you guys. I know that about you. And that's what I think is so, and I was talking to someone earlier about this today, that something that I'm really struggling with the way that doing things in America right now is that we are taking these policies, these policies that are being fed to us, whether it be, and I'm not sharing my opinions, that's not what this is about. I don't even share my opinions. When we're talking about abortion, LGBTQ rights, and all of these different things that are political things that are so polarizing that people can fight about them because this is a belief and this is a belief, so let's fight about that. What if, instead of finding the things that we fight about, we found the things that we agree on? I can tell you a huge percentage, if not the vast majority of people, believe that the prison system being privatized and having 80% nonviolent offenders locked up for years think that that's crap. I can tell you a vast majority of people that I talk to think that the healthcare system is crap. Think that we need to reform the way that we are treated, the insurance, the hospitals, the way that the money is run around and everything, the affordable healthcare, the way that people are able to access the care that they need to survive or live a life that they deserve. If so many people can agree on that, why don't we fight together towards that? And the reason I'm saying that is because us in this recovery community, what I think is beautiful is we can come from different religions, different backgrounds, different ethnic and social and economic, everything, different political views. Yet I can tell you that we will sponsor anybody that walks in that door suffering. We will sponsor anybody. We will help anybody that walks in that door because we have that common problem and a common solution. And with that, what if we took that love, that compassion, that belief that we are in this together? What if we took that into the way that we talk about change? You know, I watched in 2020, 2021 as friends, families started to separate due to politics, like hateful separation. And it's not what it's about. All right, we're going to skip out of that topic. Not a whole lot to do with recovery, except for the fact that we as a recovery community, we absolutely support each other. And anybody that walks in that door, we love them. Love the new setup. Just saying. Keep going and growing, brother. Love you, Patrice. Thank you so much. Recovered on Purpose family. I have to go to a local meeting. Awesome, brother. Enjoy your meeting. Keep coming back. Yes, absolutely, brother. Good to see you, Tim. You too. Thank you. Much love. I'm starting to get my crap together. I used to be a hellraiser. Between age of 15 to 45, I've been arrested about 30 times. Haven't had any legal problems for about 7 years. All my arrests more so had to do with alcohol. I get it, brother. I get it. And that right there, the amount of time that you're in addiction and alcoholism, right? The amount of time in active use, it becomes like normal. It can become normal for us to think that this is life now. This is how it is. But, I've got someone in the course right now who, his message, and he's in his 50s, and he's got a year and a half clean and sober, and he has completely changed his life. His life has completely changed from being locked up and cooped up, IV drug use, not able to stop. And the thing is he also was a functioning member of society. That person that is doing really well for everybody, has this really high corporate job, C-level corporate job, and was struggling with addiction. And it doesn't matter how long. It doesn't matter how long that you have been in it. Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter how young you are. Recovery is possible, and a new life is possible. Have you read Chasing the Scream? I couldn't agree more. Yes, Heather. Yes. And I'll tell you on the group coaching call tonight why it's really cool that you brought that up, because something actually happened last night that I'm excited to share with you. And Johan Ari, the author of that, when I was in my addiction in 2016, when I first heard his TED Talk, I found his email and I emailed him, and he emailed me back. That's what's so cool about this kind of community. the people that are really doing it, the people that really have that heart to serve this community, they're gonna hit you back. I reply to every single message that I get in my inbox personally. I have a automatic message that says, thanks for contacting us. We'll be back to you shortly, just so that you know that, like, got the message coming. And I always reply back. And the beautiful thing about doing things like this, sharing publicly, having videos and having stories out and posting memes and stuff, is that people that are struggling are able to find it and reach out. And the amount of conversations that I've gotten to have in my Recovered on Purpose inbox to help people. I've also been helped in that inbox. I've also had people share foundations with me, share resources with me in order to help people that are struggling. It's amazing to share your story publicly and don't, and the reason why I was saying that is that, he reached back out to me. Him and Kerwin Ray, Kerwin Ray, and Daniel Alley, and Gary John Bishop. These 4 people I hit up in the 2016 era. And that was right before I ended up getting clean and sober, but also when I went down really deep. Each one of them messaged me back, and it inspired me because at the time I just think that I'm this lowly human being. I think that I'm not worth being messaged back. But I can tell you that, my value is no greater than any other human out there. And the value of an addict suffering to me is greater than my own value, because I see them as God sees them. I see you as God sees you. And it's a beautiful thing. I love hitting people back. Heading to a meeting now. Love you. Admit it. It was because of some orange. Whoop, 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 whoop. Recovery is possible. Yes, yes, yes. Sure do. Awesome. Okay, we're going to go into another one. Let's go to this. Addicts are bad people and need to be punished so they'll stop. Now, this is something that, let me see if I can get these, chilling out, because we got something serious to talk about. This is absolutely a topic that I will be pushing for in my career later on. My story, the video that I showed you guys earlier, and for you guys that are just getting on, this is me when I was found behind the wheel of a car, overdosed, unresponsive, no breath, no pulse, and this was me. Obviously, right? I am sick and suffering with the disease of addiction. That was me. Sick and suffering. And I had this much dope on me. Not even like half a gram of dope on me. I was charged with a felony. I ended up going through the process and pleading to 5-year DOC sentence, suspended. And I couldn't stop using still. The suspended thing meant that I was on probation. If I screwed up, they put me in prison for 5 years. Now, I'm a sick and suffering addict. I'm a IV drug addict. And they put me on probation. They put me on UAs, and I can't pass one. I can't pass the UA. I'm going to my probation officer by the end of my addiction, like 6 months into probation. I am going to my probation officer, unannounced, high out of my mind, begging him to put me in prison because I can't stop using and there's no treatment for me. There was nothing there for me. Even my probation officer was sad because he was trying to get me treatment. Now, why is it that we have so much prison system, so much ability to lock people up, but we don't have treatment resources for people that are underserved, for people that don't have insurance, why is it that we don't have some kind of system to help the addict that's struggling? Instead of putting a brand on me as a felon for the rest of my life, for me, it doesn't really matter. I don't care. It's just a rite of passage, part of my my proof of addiction. Check it out. I really was an addict. Here's my proof. But for people that have, recovered and they want to get a job, they want to get an apartment, they want these things in their life, and having a felony hanging over them for the rest of their life because they got caught with personal use drugs. Come on. There is no type of punishment that is going to serve us. I wanted to be punished because I thought that was the only way I was going to get clean, but it wouldn't work. It wouldn't have even worked. There were drugs in prison. Eugene, good to see you, brother. Doing amazing. You're a beautiful person. Thank you so much. You're beautiful, Erica. I love you. We need to treat the problem, not the crime. Amen. Preach, bro. Yes. It sounds like this is an issue that a lot of us can agree on. Like we were talking about earlier in the show. Why is it that we're fighting on these topics that this person is never going to change their mind on this topic? Let's say abortion or LGBTQ rights or things like that. This person here is never going to change their mind. And this person over here is never going to change their mind. All they can do on that topic is fight. Fight about it. I wonder what percentage of people, considering that 47% of American adults have someone they love in their life right now that is struggling with drugs and alcohol addiction. 47%. And if 47% of them have someone in their life right now, that is struggling with it, what percentage of America do you think would say, nah, they don't deserve to be criminalized? They don't deserve to be put in prison because of their disease? Why don't we get together and fight on that topic? Because then we aren't fighting each other anymore. We're fighting for something together. I don't even talk about the topics that aren't changeable. There is nothing I can do with the belief topics, the moral topics. Those will always be something where one person has one set of morals and the other person has another set of beliefs and morals. We can't solve it. We can only fight about it. So we need to come together on the things that will work, that we can change together. Yes, it's sad. Yes. Got to go pick up the kid. Anyone want to look me up on Facebook and send me a friend request? Definitely do it. Have a great night, everyone. Stay safe and healthy. Guys, hop in and find Jeremy. Jeremy is in a place right now where he needs some support. He's struggling with some things, and he's ready. He's reaching out. This is a way to reach out. So everybody in this community, find Jeremy, say what's up. And Jeremy, if you're still watching, make sure you are messaging my page and saying what's up. Just say, hey, I was on the live. Thanks for doing it, and just wanted to see what you want to do. You can always hit me up. I'm always willing to talk. And here's the thing. I always talk to somebody the first time. I will take time, energy, love, a Zoom call with somebody struggling the first time. Now, I also will I will talk to you. I will find out a path that we can take to find recovery, or at least the journey to start to find recovery. And then we come up with some action plans. If you don't take those action plans, that means if you hit me up again, it's a waste of both of our time. I love giving people action plans and they come back to me and they tell me what happened. I'm not saying that what I tell you to do is going to work right away. I'm saying that if we go that route, seems like you're in a good spot to go this route. And it's different for everybody. I have a conversation, find out where you're at, and we decide together that's a good route to go. Okay, message me when you take your first step, and I'm so excited, And then they hit me up a week and a half, 2 weeks later, like, yeah, I actually changed my mind. I don't want to do that. Okay, well, go find something that you want to do, but don't bring that to me because I don't want to feel helpless. I hate feeling helpless, especially when I'm doing everything I can to help someone. And we have to have these boundaries in recovery also, guys, because there are people out there that are ready. They are ready. They are willing. And if you have the path that will help them find recovery, they will take it. We have to find those people and give those people time, give those people energy. And the people that aren't ready, they can find the people that can help them in that time. But I can't be it. I can't be it. If they don't have insurance, how is that right? They can't get treatment. Exactly. And guys, I'm going to say something. I think all drugs, from marijuana to heroin and meth, should be legalized and regulated. I don't mean that like heroin should be able to be bought at an alcohol store, but I mean like if somebody suffers from addiction and they're addicted to heroin, I think that the government should give it to them. They should regulate it so that we actually know what we're getting in the drugs, so that we stop overdosing. And I think it should be taxed so that the drug addicts that are using, they pay a tax on the drugs that they're getting, and those tax dollars go to treatment for the addicts that are ready. Imagine that world. Drug addicts that are using are taxed on their drugs to pay for the treatment of drug addicts that are ready to get clean. Wouldn't that be beautiful? More beautiful than giving all the money to privatized prisons that are just putting us in jail for years and years? Because that'll fix us. Nope. There's drugs in prison. Spent 5 years in the revolving door of jail. There was no treatment for me. I needed to find my way out. I found it. I'm willing to share. Let's go, Krista. I'm going to see you in 8 minutes. 8 minutes on the group coaching call. Thanks for being in here. They need mental health. Yes. We have to stop fighting each other, and together we will find a way. Amen. Amen. Jeremy, it is possible. My brother has been an alcoholic since his teens. 20 years later, he is still the same and is living in a homeless shelter. Maybe addiction is in DNA. Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that they're really close to finding the gene of addiction, the thing that is different between us and people that can drink normally. And man, it's really hard to watch. And I experience this now. I'm in recovery. I'm no longer using and going down that path, but I have to watch other people helplessly by as they go down. And I've made the decision in my recovery that if somebody's going to keep going down the path of addiction without taking the steps that I provide them to take, then there's nothing I can do. And I'm not going to keep trying to talk them into recovery, because I know in my place, when I was ready to listen and do what I was told. And I found recovery. I found it. My gosh, Adam saved my healing. Not only helped me find my pause button that I didn't know I needed, but you helped me find resources. I have found avenues that truly help me. And Krista, so proud of you. So proud of you. And I'm really grateful for that experience. Obviously not going to share it on live right now, but excited to when we get you on the show, when we get through it. And, I'm excited to hear everything. I am excited to hear everything. I have had some try to steal from me trying to help them. Oof. Yeah. And I just got off a call last night with someone that had 10 years of recovery, made the decision that she was going to help someone that was using crack, her drug of choice, and was going to let them stay at her house in order to find recovery while they're smoking crack. Guess what happened a short time after? Crack is addictive. Yes, you got this. I'm clean now, 8 years from opiates and cocaine. Let's go. Celebration lights for Jonah Walker. We got 8 years from opiates and cocaine. Recovery is possible and worth the fight. Amen. It is. All right, we're going to do one more of these. All right. Okay. We're going to do two. All right. Addicts and alcoholics have to hit rock bottom before they can get well. Boom. I think this is crap. I think rock bottom is a myth. I thought it was rock bottom when I told you before, when I took 2 bottles of pills, Oxycontin and Xanax, and I ate them, and then I drank a 5th of Jack when I was like 21, 22 years old trying to kill myself. I thought that was rock bottom. Oh, I survived. Then I thought it was rock bottom a few years later when I'm in my apartment all alone after being ostracized from my friend group, and I'm there and I read a little suicide note on an iPad, and oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I didn't actually die, because that suicide note was horrible. I write that suicide note and I jam a needle in my arm with everything I had trying to kill myself. I thought that was rock bottom. When I woke up in the morning screaming at God, why am I here? Then I thought it was rock bottom when I got, when I was found dead. The rock bottom of the video I showed you earlier, where I'm literally found unresponsive from overdose. No breath, no pulse. Police pull me out. I have to see that video in a courtroom after being charged with a felony. I thought that was rock bottom. Then I thought it was rock bottom when I was put in a homeless shelter. And I'm looking around at what my life had become. But then I got 86 from the homeless shelter. Rock bottom doesn't exist. Rock bottom is when we put down the shovel and quit digging. If you're out there and you're struggling, if you're out there and you're still using and drinking, it doesn't get better. It doesn't get better. It only gets worse. Because in our addiction, in our alcoholism, as we're going with this, as we continue using and consuming, the habit gets stronger and stronger, and the consequences get more and more. And what that means is that as the consequences get more and the habit gets stronger, the consequences are never able to make us stop using. It's been proven over and over and over again. The consequences, the pain, the punishment, none of that gets us clean and sober. So all we're really doing by continuing to drink and use is loading up more and more and more and more pain. There isn't a rock bottom. It doesn't exist. We got one more. Relapse is part of recovery. This is not true. This statement is not true. Relapse is part of some people's story. It is not something that we need to be telling addicts that are getting clean, that are in early recovery, that relapse is part of recovery. Because especially with the drugs that are out now, especially with the things that are passed around, the fentanyl, the carfentanil, a relapse can mean death. Way more likely than it ever was before when this was first created. If you relapse, you are always welcome back with the same amount of love, compassion, and no judgment. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying shaming anyone that has relapsed. What I'm saying is that people in recovery right now, you out there in recovery, you never have to drink or use again. Permanent recovery, being recovered forever, is possible, and it's the best thing for you. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. Really excited about this. Love you guys. I'm going to hop in here. Rock bottom is a myth. Yes, it is. Love you, Kyle. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Patrice, thank you for being such a huge support for all these years. Love you so much. So proud of you. It gets so much worse, and you are so much better off staying clean because it is too hard going back. Oof. I can't even imagine. I could not imagine going back to using and trying to get back up. I can't even imagine it right now. Then it makes them think it's okay. Yeah, we can't be saying it because it's not okay. We can't be telling people that relapse is part of recovery because it's dangerous, and it's not true. It doesn't have to be part of your story. Even if we share, we have to be careful the words that we use when we're speaking to people in early or trying to get recovery. We have to be careful with the language that we use. Love you, Erica. Love you, love you, love you. Love you, love you, love you. Yeah, I know, brother. I know. Love you guys. Keep living.